All right, well, of course, we can never talk too much 49er football on this show. That is kind of our motto, and we can never talk, of course, too much Colin Kaepernick either. And it's our pleasure to welcome back to the show the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Jim Harbaugh, back on the show. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing good.
Well, of course, we got to start with Cap. You know, here in Reno is where he played his college ball, and he is huge, and watching the run he made with you was absolutely unbelievable. Can you take us back to when you first saw the film of Colin Kaepernick and what it was you liked about him then?
So many things. Just that he's a football player, a competitive winner, blessed with a lot of talent. I just like the way he played the game, and still do. He hasn't changed in that regard. Colin, plays the game the way it should be. It's with a lot of heart and desire to be great. Just A++. Any which way you estimate or evaluate Colin Kaepernick.
You know, the Bears game obviously on Monday night was amazing. His performance there. Was there a moment in that game or shortly after that game when you then became 100% convinced that he was going to be your starter going forward? A great testament, really, to him and his preparation to be the backup quarterback, and then the way he played in the Rams game when he came in off the bench. He played very well. The team was we were behind in that game when he entered it, and put us in a position to win the game in overtime in a come-from-behind effort. So just his preparedness, I think, speaks volumes for the way he approaches every game. And then getting his first start against the Chicago Bears was a magnificent start and a magnificent game, from start to finish. I think he opened the eyes of everyone, across the country, and including his teammates and coaches. The next game, when he went down to New Orleans in another come-from-behind effort, on the road, very hostile environment. I thought the way he played in that game, cemented, that he was the starter, and we were gonna go with Colin at that point. And after the New Orleans game, and implementing the pistol offense and allowing him to run the read option is what we saw here, and what has worked so well for you guys in some spots. What went into the decision to go with that offense with Colin Kaepernick? Was it what you saw with him in college? When did you know that was going to work as well as it has?
The quarterback-driven offense, I refer to it more so like that. We had implemented that in our first year here with the 49ers. Alex Smith at the helm, and was very effective in spots. And then Colin was inserted to run that offense early in 2012, games against the Jets and others, where he came in and got some good spot play. Also was effective. And then when he became the starting quarterback, both those offenses were effective that he was running. So, what's your question again? When do we think that'd be effective?
Yeah, no, I think that's good, and I guess
the timeline there.
I guess what I would follow up with. I mean, watching him play has been so fantastic. Is there anything? I mean, obviously there are going to be things, but what do you think he can improve on still at this point as he enters the next season as the full-time starter for the first time?
Well, a young quarterback, young player, has you say, boy, they got everything they look at, they have a chance to get better at, and I don't think you'll see leaps and bounds. I mean, I think Colin's pretty far along in a lot of respects, playing the quarterback position. We're not going to see like huge gains in any one area, but he's going for small incremental gains in just about every area. That's the way he's going to approach it.
Coming so close to the championship, does it change your mentality now going forward that since you've been so close, does it fuel your fire even more to want to get back and win a Super Bowl going forward?
Our approach has always been to win the next game. That's the most important game. And we have a team and coaches and players that have a great focus on winning and doing what's necessary to put ourselves in the best possible position to do that. So I'd say it's where it's increased. I mean, I feel that myself, that because the players and coaches around us have a great desire to be the best, and we've been in a lot of situations, some tough losses, some big wins, a lot of different playoff situations now that our team has experienced, and we like it. We want more of it.
49ers coach Jim Harbaugh joining us here on the show. One of the current events, obviously, in the NFL was the rule that now dictates running backs are not supposed to lower their head outside of the tackle box. And, this could certainly have an impact on the game of Frank Gore, but I would certainly imagine he can adjust to it. How did you react to that rule when you first heard it earlier this week?
Well, I mean, Frank Gore is not the kind of running back that, lowers his helmet and tries to hit with the top of his head. LaMichael James, Kendall Hunter, Anthony Dixon, all four of those guys are that kind of a back. I mean, they're holes, or they run hard, but they lead more with their shoulder pad when they have to get low and deliver a blow. All four of those guys are physical and tough, but they do it more so with the shoulder pad.
And, the pickup you guys just made in getting Anquan Boldin, and especially getting him for what you gave up for him, was, I thought, absolutely fantastic. What do you expect him to bring to this offense coming into next year as another wide receiving threat?
Again, a football player, tough, competitive, and you watch Anquan. He plays big in the big games, and he's just consistently good. He's averaged about 13 yards a reception for just about every year he's been in the league. So another playmaker, another consistent tough performer.
And speaking of those guys, I mean, I almost wanted to give Vernon Davis the nickname Mr. January, given what he's done in January the last couple of years, in the Saints game and the Falcons game this year. I mean, how impressed have you been by the performance of Vernon in those big games in the playoffs these last couple of seasons?
Well, I mean, he's a consistent, competitive, great player every single week. And there's been games where, he gets more catches, but, he's in there week in and week out. I mean, he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't, he doesn't take himself out of the lineup. He's in there every single week playing 16 games, blocking, catching, focused on winning, as good as anybody on our squad. I mean, he's kind of an Iron Man, so to speak, is the way I think of him, because, he's always available and up for the challenge.
The draft coming up, and you guys have stockpiled draft picks in a very impressive way. What do you think the biggest need for your team is going to be when you go into this year's draft?
Well, I mean, the way you always answer this question is, the best player available. You want to get football players that have a chance to come in and compete for spots on your team. And I'm not going to go into what we're going to do, what we think our needs are. I'm not going to reveal, show your hand, so to speak. So kind of just avoid tipping our hand on that.
I would imagine that certainly the safety position is critical when you look at that, and the loss of Deshaun Goldson. Is that going to be, I mean, obviously it's going to be a target, but there's been a lot of rumors of what you guys may do in free agency with that, or when you look at the draft. Would you say that it's more likely you just wait until the draft to address that position?
I mean, all avenues are open, and I'm not gonna talk specifically about it. I mean, if you want to speculate on it, go right ahead. But we'll just kind of keep our cards close to the vest on what we're going to do.
And one real quick thing I wanted to ask about with Colin Kaepernick, He's obviously getting pretty big, literally and figuratively, you might say, because he's doing a lot of lifting. And as a quarterback, you talked about, could there be a limit of just how much lifting you want to do? Is that a concern with Cap right now?
We've talked about it, and he loves to train, and just because somebody's trained doesn't mean they're on the bench press, 4 hours a day. I mean, there's other ways to train. I mean, picture a boxer, a boxer that is lean and has to move their arms quickly and with great agility. I mean, they train. They're in the gym training, and so I think if you just make the analogy of a quarterback and a boxer, it'd be very, very similar.
And finally, Coach, last question, one that I've always wanted to know about. If I go into your closet, how many black sweaters will I find in there?
Probably 7.
I was going to take the over on that, actually.
7, I think.
I've actually adopted the style, though, Coach. I like to rock the black sweater and black hat as a tribute to you when I get a chance.
How about the khakis? You go khaki?
I usually go jeans still, though. I need to mix in some more khakis. I got to be honest about that. Always appreciate it, Coach. Thanks so much for the time, and good luck coming up this next season.